British Columbia. Now, time and another place, mainly right here in Winnipeg, he was a rock guitarist in a very popular bar band. Now, they were called the Expedition to Earth, and I don't know if you ever saw them play here, but they played a lot of shows. It was the late 60s and the early 70s, and the Expedition did pretty well for themselves. They released a 45 with 2 songs. About 500 or so copies were made. Now, you're going to fast forward now to 2015. Now, Danny's wife is on eBay, and she's searching around for a copy of that original 45 because she wanted to give it to her husband as a bit of a gift. Now, within a few months, 3 copies sell, with one going for $1,100. And that's just the start of the story. We've reached Danny at his home in BC. Good afternoon, Danny.
Good afternoon, Trevor.
So, what did you think when you heard the copies of your 45 that you recorded so long ago were not only selling on eBay, but going for prices as high as $1,100?
I was literally awestruck with that. We knew it was going for a higher price because we've been informed from Sean Nagy from the Super Oldies records that it had been sold for as high as $800. But we never thought in our wildest dreams that it would go up to $1,137.
That's a nice claim to fame to have right there.
Well, it certainly got me, coming out of the woodwork and getting back into the music business, because with that notoriety, the people just said, we need more of this material. So what have you been doing? Where have you been? The whole story. So it's called, well, you're still writing and you're still performing, so let's hear some. So back into the studio we went. And that's where we are now.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to get to more on that in just a little bit, but I want to find out a couple more things about that album. Are you getting any royalties from that?
Actually, no. Although I can't. Originally, it was published from Savalor Music, and that was going way back to 1967. Now, it received a certain amount of airplay back then, but no, back then you never expected to get any royalties, because it was just something that nobody got, right? So fast forward it to now. Yes, I can reclaim the publishing rights to it. So yes, I can now start collecting royalties on it. But where would you start? Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, it's being played all over the world. So I'm not in it for the money. It's called, the music is the first thing.
Why do you think?
It always has been.
Why do you think there's been such a resurgence in popularity of the band's music now?
I think people are looking towards listening more to the older stuff now. They're getting tired of being the stuff that's on the radio now. The new music, it's sort of lost its soul or something. So a lot of people are returning back to the older stuff and listening to the 65 to 75 era, just because they like the music, like what the music was telling them back then.
Have you talked to any of the original members about this?
I'm in constant touch with all of them.
Yeah? Are they just as shocked as you were?
Probably even more so.
So now the eBay sales are only the first part of the story because, as you mentioned, you're going back into the studio to do some new music. Tell us about that.
Well, the new music was, we started it in Winnipeg doing some bed tracks. Brought them out here to BC, went into a studio here in Grand Forks to do some work, but they sold their property and are busy right at the moment trying to put together a new studio. So we went, took our stuff and went up to Nelson, BC, and ran into a chap by the name of John Tucker, who is an engineer with the studio up there. And we finished off the CD up there.
Do you have a name for it?
Called, we're just in the process now of deciding what the name is. The first one that came to mind was Cosmic Collision.
Ooh. I like that one.
Okay.
Name it. Just signing off right there. Boom, done.
Yeah, that's it. We can go with that.
What was it like, though, getting back in the studio? Was it fun getting back and creating some new songs?
Yes, it was. The fun is now back into the music business.
Yeah.
You know, it isn't a grind now where you're on the road all the time, and it's called now I can sort of sit back and relax and do what I want to do, and then go out on the road when I want to.
How would you describe the music to anyone who's listening right now?
Original retro rock.
Original retro rock?
Yes, it's the stuff that we're doing, and it was a decision that was made because of where the people are heading today is back into the old style rock and roll, but it's giving them some new old rock and roll.
Just so you know, when the kids tweet about it, they're going to call it ORR, just as a heads up.
Okay. Okay.
Well, the 60s and 70s were obviously a very different time in history and in music. How has it been different for you now? You mentioned it's more fun now, but anything else?
It's a bit different just with the whole world situation in general. I'm still a believer that music can help change the world, and I'd really like to see everybody get rid of the war situation, which is, that's something we've been fighting against since the 60s. Back then it was the Vietnam War, and I think through the power of music, it really helped a lot of people come forward so that we put enough pressure to get that war calmed down, right? So it was called, it's time for that stuff again.
Before I let you go, I need to ask you, your wife tried desperately to get you that LP. Did you ever get it?
Yes. No.
No? Oh, you had me. You said yes quickly, and I thought I was all excited for you.
No, actually, a Facebook friend of mine had a copy that he found, but unfortunately, I said I can't. I'm not going to afford the $1,100 for that. So I phoned up a friend in Germany that had missed out on the one just prior to that, and put the two of them together, and he bought it.
Oh my.
So it's he's a DJ, and he uses it in all of his shows over there.
Well, if anyone out there is listening right now, if you have a copy of this, get it to Danny. He needs a copy of his own music.
I can't afford it.
Hey, Danny, thank you very much, and good luck with the new album.
Well, thank you, Trevor. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Danny Norton is a former Winnipegger and guitarist for the Expedition to Earth. Now, the Expedition to Earth's new album, Cosmic Collision, is expected to be released this fall. But here is their hit. If you can find the 45 in your collection, trust me, it's worth plenty.
The birds and the flowers of yesterday gone by. The clouds and the airplane way up in the sky. They're out of sight, my friend, never to return. So if you want, I'll take an expedition to. If you want, I'll take an expedition to. If you want, I'll take an expedition to Earth. Things occur again to remind us we should try. You'll never make it till you're there. You've only got one chance. So if you want, I'll take an expedition to. If you want, I'll take an expedition to. If you want, I'll take an expedition to Earth. chance. So if you want, I'll take an expedition to. If you want, I'll take an expedition to. If you want, I'll take an expedition to Earth.
Take a look at your life and see how you stand. Examine your past and know your future.
That could be the trippiest end to any song we have ever played here on CBC Radio. What a great tune. That, again, was Expedition to Earth. The song is actually called Expedition to Earth. And the reason why they did that, this is a great little story, is that basically Danny said that he wanted the radio stations, when they played the song, to have to say the band's name twice, which is just genius marketing back in the day. So congratulations to Danny. Again, Danny is the former guitar player for Expedition to Earth. What an absolutely amazing song. Original retro rock, my friends.